The sun drags itself up over a soggy, reluctant landscape, like even it's second-guessing being here. You're flat on your back, stiff as a mammoth jerky, having spent the night using gravel as a mattress. Your fur wrap smells like disappointment and something that once barked. Your stomach staging a revolt, and your face is caked in a mysterious crust you're really hoping is just mud. Welcome to your Paleolithic wake-up call. You're a caveman. And honestly, it's awful. Forget the poetic nonsense about prehistoric nobility, glorious hunters with chiseled abs, noble scavengers crafting primitive art. The real deal? You're freezing, starving, sore, and your foot's marinated in something suspiciously mammoth adjacent. No memory of stepping in it, but that's the Paleolithic vibe. Half your bruises and bodily smells come from events you'll never fully understand. You groan and sit up. Your joints snap like old firewood. Every muscle protests yesterday's emergency sprint from something with fangs. Bear? Giant reptile? Your cousin again? Doesn't matter. Everything's trying to kill you, including the wind. You haven't eaten in 2 days. Your last culinary experience was half-burnt roots and a suspicious fungus that turned out to be anything but food. It gifted you a hallucination of a saber-toothed tiger in a straw hat giving a TED talk on tax reform. Honestly, he made some solid arguments. That counts as your entertainment for the week. You consider hunting. You pick up a rock. It's not sharp, it's not even mildly menacing. It's smooth, a little warm, and about as deadly as a potato. You sigh dramatically. Then you hurl it at a squirrel that's been mocking you from a nearby tree all morning. You miss by so much it should be studied. The squirrel doesn't react. It just stares at you, judging, as it nibbles what's probably the last edible thing in the entire forest, and your pride. Toilets? Never heard of it. Your stomach lets out a rumble so sinister it startles a flock of birds and makes someone nearby mutter, "That can't be good." You know what's coming. It's the same sinking dread you get when it starts raining and you realize your shelter has a hole, and your last meal might have included regret-shaped mushrooms. You shuffle behind what technically qualifies as a bush, though in reality it's more like a broken promise made of brittle sticks. You crouch in the classic Paleolithic pose, knees bent, one eye scanning for predators, the other silently begging the gods for mercy. You're terrified of stepping on a snake, brushing against an aggressive thorn, or locking eyes with a fellow tribesmate squatting on the other side. The wind shifts, the branches rustle. In the distance, a wolf howls. Warning? Laughter? Who knows? Either way, it's enough to snap you out of your existential toilet trance. You clench everything you've got, abandon the cursed shrubbery, and scamper back to camp like a panicked toddler who knows too much about the fragility of existence. You don't speak of it, you just sit quietly by the fire, staring into the flames, hoping no one brings up the smell. Home sweet hut. Camp consists of some rocks, sad sticks, and even sadder memories. Your shelter collapsed last night mid-windstorm, twice. You rebuilt it out of soggy moss, mammoth bones, and pure, unfiltered spite. It leans to the left like it's had enough. It creaks every time the wind blows, like it's whispering, "Let me die." Inside, there's absolutely nothing. No fire, no warmth, just an uneven dirt floor judging you for every life choice you've ever made. Your bed is a stolen mammoth hide that smells like someone else's regrets and is crawling with things you haven't identified and refuse to. You curl up anyway. You're already itchy. You scratch half-heartedly while contemplating whether the flea bites or the emotional damage hurts more. Then the rain starts. Naturally. A fat drop hits your forehead. Another lands in your ear like a damp insult. You think about moving. You don't. You just sigh and let the drizzle claim you like a forgotten garden gnome. You whisper, "Please don't fall," to your hut. It responds with a leaky drip right to the eyeball. Everyone smells like despair. The tribe gathers around the fire, a fragrant soup of wet fur, overripe sweat, and something disturbingly close to rotting. It's not warmth, it's a group steam bath, in ode to suffering. Hygiene is theoretical. No soap, no shampoo, no toothbrushes. Just 25 people and a shared dream of not dying, all marinating together in their own organic funk. Someone shifts. Their armpit breeze smacks you across the face like a prehistoric insult. You gag, pretend it's the smoke. It's not. You scratch your scalp, something crawls out, you flick it into the fire, sizzle. No reaction. It's routine. Someone sneezes straight into the communal stew pot. No one blinks. That stew is still getting eaten, probably with seconds. You shift uncomfortably, trying to escape the odor sandwich between the guy who bathes annually and the woman whose breath could flatten a boar. You breathe through your mouth. It doesn't help, it tastes like failure. This is community. This is how early humans bonded. Not with hugs, with shared fumes, scratchy blankets, and the quiet knowledge that no matter how bad it gets, at least no one's invented perfume yet to make it worse. Love in the time of lice. Someone catches your eye across the fire, their expression might be interest or gas. Honestly, it's hard to tell when everyone has the same gaunt cheekbones and thousand-yard stare. They slowly extend half of a roasted squirrel toward you, singed, slightly raw, and conspicuously missing a limb. You accept it with a nod. This could be romance, or indigestion. Maybe both. Courtship in the Stone Age is refreshingly low effort. No flowers, no sweet nothings, just meat-based offerings and a grunt that could mean anything from "you're attractive" to "this was crawling when I found it." If someone hands you their least burned rodent, that's intimacy. If they let you curl up in the communal shelter without kicking you out, that's practically a vow. A Paleolithic love note, a lukewarm marmot, and a mostly lice-free scalp. No hygiene, no poetry, just eye contact and a silent pact to ignore the lice. If they squish one with a smile, soulmate. Later, you find yourself lying side by side on a mat of flattened mammoth hair and poorly managed emotions. The stars are out, the fire crackles. You learn they're technically your cousin. Not close cousin, but cousin adjacent. You shrug. It's not ideal, but neither is the squirrel you're sharing. You take another bite. Love is messy, so is survival. Everything is trying to murder you. After lunch, squirrel and sadness, you head out with the hunters. Your stomach's still growling, but it's hard to tell if it's hunger or dread. You're armed with a sharpened stick and sheer optimism. It's not enough. It never is. You spot a bison in the distance, massive, snorting, angry at the world for reasons you deeply understand. It locks eyes with you, you lock eyes with it. There is a moment of mutual confusion, followed by immediate and unequal violence. It snorts, it charges, and you realize, far, far too late, that this was a terrible idea. You squeak loudly, then dive behind a boulder with all the grace of a collapsing elk. Your stick snaps in two like it was waiting for an excuse to abandon you. The bison thunders past, deeply offended that you even tried. And then there's the weather. As the sun drops behind some extremely unfriendly mountains, the temperature plummets. You're wrapped in a squirrel pelt and a questionable sense of optimism. Neither is working. The wind screeches like a banshee with a hangnail. It slithers through every crack in your shelter, which is basically a pile of sticks cosplaying as a house. Cold seeps into your bones like judgment. Your teeth chatter so violently you scare off a nearby owl. It gives you a long, hard look before flapping off like, nope, this one's not gonna make it. Your fire sputters, gives one last dramatic flicker and dies. Clearly, it's as over this day as you are. You try to bring it back, smashing two rocks together like you're in a motivational cave poster. Spark! Spark! Nothing. The smoke just wafts away in a plume of disappointment. You blow on it, you beg, you threaten it. The fire remains unmoved, emotionally detached, possibly petty. Eventually, you curl into the fetal position and hum a sad tune you pretend is for morale. It's not. It's emotional triage. It's somewhere between a lullaby and a breakdown. The squirrel pelt slips off. You don't even fix it. You accept your fate. If the cold takes you, at least you'll go out dramatically. This is Paleolithic weather. less crisp evening chill, and more Arctic slap to the soul. You close your eyes, you try to sleep. The wind pokes you in the face and laughs. Death is always trending. Your buddy Grack cut his foot last week, just a little nick on a sharp stone. He laughed it off, called it a warrior scar. Now it's oozing, swollen, and smells like something tried to escape from inside him but got stuck halfway. Honestly, that might have happened. He doesn't talk anymore, just sits near the fire, breathing like he owes it money. The shaman tried his best, rubbed moss on it, waved a bone around, and hummed like he was stalling for time. You both know what's next. Grack dies quietly while the tribe chews on semi-warm rat. One guy shrugs and asks if anyone wants the crispy bits. No one makes eye contact, just a few awkward grunts and the ancient equivalent of yikes. A kid taps Grack with a stick. Nothing. Yep, that's confirmation. You sit beside him. Not really to mourn, his spear is right there, and it's a good one. Balanced, clean, no weird grooves. You ease it toward you while someone adjusts the firewood. Yeah, the body's going on soon. You nod once. Not out of respect, more like acknowledgement. Grack's gone. The spear's yours now. Life stumbles forward. Drama, dirt, and dubious dental work. There's a brawl over the last clean water gourd. Clean is a generous term. It smells like regret and possibly fermented frog. Still, that doesn't stop two grown humans from lunging at each other like they're auditioning for Paleolithic wrestling. Someone takes a rock to the skull. Could be serious, might just be Tuesday. Bleeding's part of the aesthetic here. You try to step in, but your only tool is your voice, and a twig with leadership aspirations, it does nothing. No one cares. The gourd tumbles into the fire pit, it hisses, it cracks, game over. No one wins. Everyone stares at the smoke like it personally betrayed them. Such is life, dramatic, unsanitary, thirsty. The tooth comes out eventually, along with a strip of gum, 2 tears, and someone's remaining will to keep going. There's a moment of stunned silence, then a muttered, "Worth it," though no one believes it. Later that night, just when things start to settle and the cave grows quiet, someone farts. Loud, triumphant, echoing off the stone like a war cry from the bowels of shame. No one speaks. No one moves. You all roll over, slowly, pretending to sleep, but really just trying to forget what you've become. Everyone turns their back to everyone else, not because it helps, but because eye contact after that would destroy what little dignity remains. Airflow is gone. Morale is dead. This is togetherness. This is survival. This is rock bottom, literally because you're still lying on one. And yet, somehow, impossibly, you survive. You wake the next morning to the faint smell of smoke and damp fur. Your joints sound like cracking pine. Your clothes feel like they lost a fight with mildew. Your mouth tastes like dirt and defeat. But someone tosses you a roasted lizard tail, and you catch it. You take a bite. You smile. A kid draws a wobbly mammoth on the cave wall, and you crouch beside them to add the eyes. It looks mildly deranged. You both giggle. Someone grunts out a joke involving exaggerated goat flailing and oddly timed snorts. You laugh, even though it barely counts as a joke. There's music. Someone banging bones together with what could be rhythm or just mild head trauma. Someone dances. Someone else claps. You're not sure if it's joy or delirium. But for a brief moment, it doesn't suck. Not because the cave got warmer or the mammoths got easier to catch. Not because the fleas packed up and left, but because, despite it all, you're still here. And you're not here alone. Legacy. Thousands of years from now, people will sit in temperature-controlled homes, tapping screens and yelling at buffering icons. They'll complain about toast being too brown and coffee being too cold. They'll put on soft socks without thinking, brush their teeth with mint-flavored paste and still somehow be mad it wasn't spearmint. And they'll forget. They'll forget that their entire cushy existence was paid for in full by people like you. You, who faced frostbite, hunger, heartbreak, lice, disappointment, and diarrhea all in the same week. You, who laughed in the smoke, who danced in the dirt, who found love with someone possibly related to you because, let's be honest, options were limited. You, who turned misery into meaning, who turned poop jokes into poetry, who turned cave walls into cathedrals of memory. You weren't clean, you weren't comfortable, you weren't ever really safe. But you are human, and being human, that hasn't changed a bit. So yes, being a caveman absolutely sucked, but you sucked together. And that's kind of beautiful.